Hello and welcome to Learning from Lauren. I am Lauren, your host, and I am here today to talk to you all about what it's like and when are you going to be ready to be a travel agent. A lot of people say like, "Oh, I'm going to wait. I have, this milestone or this is going to come up and then I'm going to start and, become a travel agent." And the thing with our passions is we are most excited about our passions is when it's new and we've started something. And as someone who likes to start things when I want to, I don't go by some special timeline that like I have to hit a milestone or things like that. I think that you are much more in the flow, you are much more excited if you start when you're not ready, because guess what? You're never going to be ready. Your life is never like, oh, now everything's settled. That's not how life works. The first business I ever started was, I keep saying 2 months, but my husband just reminded me that it was 1 month after my son was born. I started a new business, and like, what a silly time to start a business. But it was just like so in me. And I had been thinking about it for so long. And I kept being like, well, I'm pregnant, so I can't start a business. And then my son was here and I was like, why can't I start a business? So I started my first business a month after my son was born. And it took a lot of work. And it was challenging, but actually, a newborn does sleep more than I had anticipated. So I was able to do work in some of those nap time times. And I was so excited about it because it was new. And I was like, yes, I get to do this whole thing. And it's totally out of my comfort zone and it's brand new and it's just for me. And some of that was like you're a new mom and you kind of like lose yourself a little bit and your whole world is about this new child, which is great. But I also wanted something outside of that. So when I started my first business, that is what I did. Um, and when I became a travel agent, that is the part that I regret the most, that I waited so long to do it. And part of the reason I did that is because I don't know, I listened to this one person who basically was like, you can only do it full time. Like no agency out there takes part-time travel agents. Not true. Not even like a little true. Like most travel agencies work on part-time people and not as much on full-time people. And it's kind of why I wanted to be a travel agent, because I really wanted to make sure it was something that I liked and what I wanted to do. And I've done other videos that you can practice being a travel agent before you're a travel agent. And going part-time is such a good way to start to become a travel agent, because I don't want to say it's slow starting, but it kind of depends on the agency that you join. There's like a lot of like, I don't want to say paperwork, but there's just like a lot of boxes you need to check before you can even do anything. And some people haven't been in school for a long time, so you're not used to having to take tests and things like that. And a lot of times, if you want to sell certain products, it depends on your agency. You need to pass certain tests before you can do that. Now, I'm not trying to scare you with the test. Normally, it's like you watch a video and then you have to take a test. And if you don't pass it, you just retake it until you do pass it. And they tell you which ones you get wrong. What a big shocker. You can tell us which ones we get wrong so we can get them right. Now, some of the training programs are way more extensive than others. Now, I am a Disney focused travel agent, Disney, Universal, and cruising. But when I first started, like I just did Disney. And then I added on Universal and then I added on cruising. So when I started with Disney, I had a ridiculous amount of knowledge about Disney World. And I'm not saying this to like toot my own horn, but I have more knowledge than most people about Disney worlds than you would even imagine. When I was pregnant and then when I had my son, I was doing all these feedings and things like that. And I always felt so alone, because it's such like an alone time when you're feeding your child and everyone's asleep and there's no one there to help you. Um, it's just like a very lonely time. And so I was into podcasts before, and I listened to like every Disney podcast out there for years, and I would re-listen to websites. And there were certain travel agencies that had their own their own podcast. And I would re-listen to those over and over and over again. Like there is a podcast that I listen to over and over and over again about this travel agency, and I learned a ridiculous amount of information about it. I learned about being a travel agent before I was a travel agent and not even knowing it. And I know a lot of those little things that you need to know, like Disney has a lot of little things that you need to know as a travel agent, but there's just like a lot of system issues that you need to know about when you're doing Disney. And there's a lot when you do Royal Caribbean or like whatever it is that you need to do. And you don't know them until you actually do them because you don't use like the consumer site that you see online. There's like a different travel agent login and it works totally different than it would if you like just were a random person and booking it yourself. So I say that because that's like the biggest part that you need to learn. You need to learn all those things like, oh, okay, if they want to book 2 rooms, I can't book them at the same time. So I have to like book one and then book the second one super fast to make sure that they get in there. Maybe I should call, maybe I should do this technique, all these different types of things. You need to know about like group space and stuff like that. You don't know what kind of clients you're always going to get. So there's a lot of knowledge you need to start with. And with that, like I would say the first 2 or 3 months are really you just like starting off. And that's not even talking about finding your agency. So let's start there. If I'm looking for a travel agency, they're not always hiring. Like I work for a travel agency. We ended our hiring process. That's it. No one's being hired for the rest of the year. Like I'm not taking on any new agents that I, need to help train or need to start with or whatever it is that I need to do with a new agent. But you're not always going to have that travel agency be open for applications. So you could be looking and find like your dream agency, but they're done for the year. Well, now what? You got to wait another year now? Are you going to come back to it? Or are you just going to randomly join some agency and just be like, well, whatever, I'll just start and then I'll transfer over to that agency? Transferring agencies is fine, but it's a ton of work. And if you can avoid doing it, trust me, it makes your life so much easier. If you can just find the right agency first, it just makes your life so much easier. So, like, that's you know, you don't ever want to wait on your dream. Like, you don't have to put your dreams on hold because of X, Y, and Z. If it's your dream, you will find the time to do it. You will find the time that you can make it work and that you can start your new passion and your new career. When it's your passion and it's really what you want to do, you have no issues like finding time for it. Like people are like, oh, well, you work all the time, but it doesn't feel like work because I love doing it. And yeah, there are parts that I don't like doing, but guess what? There's a lot of parts in certain parts of my day that I don't like doing either, but I still do them. So you have to know that if it's your passion and this is what you want to do and you see that the agency that you really want is hiring, you don't know how long their hiring process takes. Sometimes it takes a full month to go through the whole hiring process. Okay, so now you're hired after that month and now you have to start and now you have to train and then all this other stuff. And your training is normally based on your schedule. So if it's like Christmas and you start, it's not like you have to be done in Christmas season, but in January you might have some more time and it might feel like, okay, I'm on my way. I'm going to do this. Like this is what I'm going to do. And then you go from there. And then by the end of that year, you can look back and be like, oh, I'm so glad I started, even though I only, accomplished, this amount. I'm so glad I started because if I waited another year, then it would take me another year to get established. And maybe, X, Y, and Z came up this year. And now I know that this is really like something that I'm interested in doing. So I don't know why this week I seem to have gotten a lot of questions about when people should start to become a travel agent, but I did. I think because I get to a lot of teachers, and teachers started this year or started these last couple weeks, and I think they're already like, "How can I get out? I'm ready to get out of teaching. So how can I do that?" So yeah, that's what my big suggestion. If you see even when you're looking at travel agencies, sometimes like that's so overwhelming, guys. Like the most important thing is finding your travel agency. After that, like things get a lot smoother when you get hired. But finding that travel agency that you really want to work with is something that is super important, and you really want to find that mesh. Like I can't stress it enough that I work for an amazing organization. Like I'm very lucky that my boss is so amazing. Her second in command is amazing. And like all the people that I work with are just amazing human beings. They're so nice. Everyone is helpful. Everyone is trying to help out everyone else, and everyone supports each other's like different niches. I don't like that word niche, but their specialty that they specialize in, and we really like help each other out. And that's the kind of environment you want. And I can flat out tell you that you should easily be able to tell that from an interview. Um, you will be able to know, or go on like after interviewing like when you interview with an agency, you can go and look at the other agents and see, like, are they commenting on each other's stuff? Are they talking to each other? Are they uplifting each other? Are they talking about other agents? Like these are all things that like I don't think like I'm obligated to do. I just do it because it's like, oh my God, like, look, like, someone put out something really cool today. Like, I have to share that. Like, I work with some Star Cruise experts at Disney World, and I share their stuff all the time because I don't sell Star Cruiser. And like, they like rock it. They're so good at it. So, like, I want to share that with people. Like, look at who these people are that I work with. Like, they're so amazing. And I don't like, it's not like in the morning I wake up and I'm like, okay, today I'm rotating to Sarah, and I better make sure I post something about her. And then I got to move on, and I got to make sure I post something about Cheryl and what she's doing and all this stuff. Like, I see it and I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. I better share that because like other people need to see that too. So you want to see what kind of environment it is, and you can see that from social media. And if they don't have social media, that will tell you something also. So you really just want to find that that agency that's going to work the best for you. I do have a program if you are interested for Labor Day weekend. I do have a special sale for you because, we all work hard and we all need those special discounts. So if you're really truly interested about becoming a travel agent, you could check it out. It's below in the show notes, and it will really, really help you and just become a travel agent. Like, you don't want to waste time. We waste time on so many different things, and we put things off for so much. If you actually purchase my course, then you're like, okay, well, I purchased it. So I really have to like be true to myself and like really get this going because I already spent money on it and I don't want to just throw away money for fun. So I want to take this seriously and start. And it doesn't mean that if you buy my course that day, you have to become a travel agent. You're learning like, okay, this is how I should look at travel agencies. Once I become a travel agency, what is my portion that I need to do? Because there are parts that your travel agency is not going to help you with, no matter what travel agency you work with. So you want that outside support that's going to help you, because trust me, I wasted so much time. And as a teacher, like I wish I could like revamp how everyone does it, because there are some like major holes when you start at a travel agency that most of them leave out. And I'm just trying to help you all so that you can build your business, because they work so hard on building. Agency owners are so worried about building their business, like build it up, build it up, build it up. And they try and help their agents, and they're often not successful because they're not working on those little parts that you really need to be successful. And that's what my course does, because I'm also a travel agent and I'm not an agency owner. I want to help you, and that's my goal, because I wasted so much time. I don't want you wasting so much time. So check that out below. And, I'll see you next time on Learning for Lauren.